Hello and welcome back to the Career Cravings podcast. I'm your host, Irina, and today we are talking about something that is super close to my heart, something I'm completely obsessed with during this time of year, the very end of the year, which is my practices for year end, which include writing a letter to my future self and vision boarding. If these are two things that you are currently not doing, I'm going to be changing your mind because they are just too good. There was actually a Harvard study that was done, and it took two sets of participants. So it took a group and another group. And in the first group, they had created a vision for what they wanted to achieve in their lives. And the other group didn't. And then they followed up with them many, many years later. And what they saw was that the group that had the vision had actually been living in that vision. And those that didn't were not. So this is why it's so super important. And I know many, many, many people want to have a vision board or maybe have created one at one time and then ended up putting it somewhere they don't see it. It didn't work. It was disappointing. So today we're going to get into all of that and my personal practices with these two things that will help you reach your goals in 2026. Hey, it's Irina Pozan, and welcome back to the Career Cravings podcast. This podcast has a simple mission. It's to help ambitious professionals like you build the career and life that you've been craving. Over the past 15 years, I've worked as an HR leader, designed hiring systems, led recruitment teams, and I've sat on the other side of the hiring table. I've seen what works in today's job market, what doesn't, and what separates those good candidates from the ones that actually land their dream roles. Now I'm bringing everything I've learned straight to you. Each episode is packed with actionable insights and tools to help you land your dream role sooner. Now let's dive in. First of all, I cannot believe that we are at the very end of the year. I feel like 2025 just completely flew by more than any other year. And of course, there may have been goals that you set for yourself, whether they were on a vision board or not, that you did not end up achieving. And maybe there were some that you did. And now you're starting to think about, what is it that I want my life to look like in 2026? What are the things that I'd like to achieve? And if that's you, then you are in the right place. So my friend Parya and I, not too long ago, went to go see Gabby Bernstein. She's a motivational speaker and author. She's written 10 books in 20 years, and I've read all of them except her latest one. And while we were there, we had this amazing idea. We're like, let's host a vision board party and a manifestation party, essentially. And we got so super excited about it. So right then and there, we booked it and we invited some friends. And I ended up hosting these workshops. So the ones that I'm going to walk you through today with my group of friends to really be intentional about the way we come into the following year. So I find that when we're not intentional going into what we want for the next week, month, day, year, what ends up happening is just whatever happens to us. And what I like to do is create that vision and let it go, which are the two practices I'm going to walk you through today. So the very first step before we can create any of these two exercises is actually taking a step back and taking the time to really journal on what you truly want from the next year, the next 3 years, the next 5 years, and really trying to think about, okay, if everything goes exactly as I want it, what would my life look like 1 year from now, 2 years from now, 5 years from now? And really getting intentional about that. That is always the very first step before we dive into creating a vision board or creating goals or even writing that letter to the future self, which we'll walk through both together if you've never done that. And as you do that, I would highly recommend you doing that right after this episode as things are fresh, as you're feeling inspired. And one of the things that I commonly see when I ask people, what are your goals for the next year? What I often hear are these little micro goals that are probably a little bit boring. And sometimes we set goals that don't scare us enough, that if they came true, it wouldn't be that big a deal. And yes, you'd be able to check them off your list and say that they're done, but they're not truly what you are looking to accomplish. And that's an issue because it's not very motivating. So if you have written down goals, some of them can be smaller than others, but if you don't have goals that are written down that truly scare you, if your goals are boring to you, what's going to happen is you won't be motivated to achieve them. And even when you do achieve them, it won't be something that you're super proud of. It won't be a true accomplishment. But the reason we do this, so our brain tries to keep us small. And the reason we all do this is because we are afraid to fail. So what if you write something down that you want to accomplish, you put it on your vision board, and you don't accomplish it? What then, right? That won't feel very good. And I've personally been there. So I have a vision board, which I'm actually going to walk you through from last year. And the process that I like to take in creating a vision board won't have you feeling that failure type of way. Because what I like to do is set goals without very, very specific timelines when it comes to a vision board. So goal setting is very, very different than this. But when I'm selecting things that I want for my life in the future, I'm not tied to a specific date. So I'm not tied to, let's say, this must happen in 2026, because if it's a huge, audacious, exciting goal, one that would scare the shit out of me and have me very, very excited, then that's okay if it happens 6 months after I had intended, or if it happens the year after, right? Because they are truly things that are so exciting and they're truly big goals. So I want you to think about what those big buckets are. If you were living a life beyond your wildest dreams and it's 3 years from now, what does that look like? Are you in a different job? Did you start your own business? Did you write that book? Did you have a baby? Did you get married? Did you find the love of your life? Whatever that is for you, I want you to think about it and keep it in your mind's eye before we even go into this vision boarding practice. So there's a couple ways to create a vision board, and I'll walk you through what the difference is between last year and this year for me. And I've created physical vision boards and ones that are also digital. So every single day of 2025, I had my lock screen on my phone as my vision board, and the background of my computer is also my vision board. I cannot run away from it. I am seeing it all the time, to the point where these images that I had placed are in my subconscious. So I am no longer focused on those items on a day-to-day basis. I'm not intentionally staring at them. They are just surrounding me everywhere. And I find this is really, really helpful in terms of just keeping things top of mind that are super, super important. And when I created this vision board, I was not attached to exact dates for these things. In fact, there were some things that have carried over from the year before and the year before. And this is what helps with also allowing me to dream bigger, because I'm not attached to a specific date. So I'll walk you through last year's vision board, what that looked like, certain things that did come true, certain things that didn't, and we'll talk about that and the things I'm carrying over. One thing that was on my vision board was me at the best shape of my life a couple of years ago. And it's a photo of me, and I feel very confident. I literally have abs, and I am very, very strong at that time. And this is a really good reminder for me that health is my number one priority. It's one of my top priorities, and it's on the vision board so that it reminds me to do that. Now, I will say I did not this year, in fact, get into the best shape of my life. So this is something that will carry over, probably even if I achieve that goal very soon. It'll be something that just stays top of mind and carries over year after year after year. Another thing that was on my vision board that I did not achieve that will, continue to carry over, and it was a long-term goal, was to buy a lakefront property. So if you guys are familiar with Ontario, we have very, very beautiful lakes that are just a couple hours from Toronto. And these houses are very, very expensive. Like, we're talking about multi-millions of dollars for a secondary property. And there's a couple of nice regions, including Muskoka and the Kawartha regions. And it has been my dream to have a lake house for a number of years. And that is still my intention. Now, it was not the priority that we ended up focusing on in 2025. There were a couple things that happened where we weren't even sure we would have enough time to spend at this property that is so expensive. But now going into this new year, my husband and I keep talking about the lake house more and more and more. And we had a financial planning meeting. We talked about it and we got all the details and they modeled what it would look like until we're 95 and how, what the investment would look like versus other investments. And we feel strongly now that this is something we'd like to do for our family and to have in our family, to create those memories and spend time by the lake and have like a serene additional property that is not somewhere far in, a different country. It's somewhere where we could go often and enjoy it and share it with my family as well. Have my mom come out there, let my sister come out there and use it, and just have another place where we are creating memories as a family. So that became a bigger priority. Now, it was on the vision board for 2025 and it is carrying over into 2020. So those items are carrying over. I also had abundance goals on the vision board. So I had the exact revenue number that I wanted to make in 2025 in the business, and I exceeded that in September of the year. So what I had planned on doing the whole year was met earlier, which is fantastic, which actually shows me that I was playing it safe, that I put a number on there that was 2x the year prior. And I thought that was, safe and still was stretchy. But what that proved is it wasn't stretchy enough. So next year, the number that I will put on my vision board is going to scare the living shit out of me. And I know in the back of my mind, it will also motivate me. Another thing that I am adding to the vision board, of course, for 2026 is becoming a number one best-selling author. So now that I'm in the process of writing a book, this is something that I always had a dream of. Although I would write about it, it would be in my 10-year plan. I said I wanted to become an author by the time I was 40. Now I have chosen to move forward on this a little bit sooner. So now it's coming onto the vision board officially with, a picture of the book, a picture of the number one bestseller. And I want to have that top of mind as I'm writing so that I am writing it in a way that's creating the biggest impact possible. Okay. So this is a new item. Something that I had for a couple of years on the vision board over and over again, and now I can finally take it off because we have achieved that, was going into private banking and also having the ability to have a certain 7-figure number in our investments account that is just accruing and growing. And this was really, really important. It's a nice round number. And I had that on the vision board and I had it on the vision board. And then finally this year it happened, and it actually happened sooner than we had anticipated. And we were excited and we were celebrating, but I'm like, oh my goodness. Okay. So the next year I'm going to create a bigger round number and add it to the vision board as well. So this is to give you a taste of kind of things that have carried over, things that I'm excited about, things that did not pan out, but they might in the future. So I want you to think about visually some images that would inspire you. So on my vision board, I had a picture of a lake, a serene lake. I had a picture of investments accounts growing. So what I did was I took a snapshot of my investment account, and then I changed the number to what I wanted it to look like. And now in reality, that has been exceeded in my real bank account. So I'm going to do that again, but change the number again for the next one. Then I had a picture of me celebrating the book. And these are things that might be things that just make you inspired. So maybe fitness is also on your vision board, right? So you might create pictures of like lemon water or, a Pilates studio or something that you would want to look at that would remind you and have meaning to what you actually wanted. I also put different words on there that also inspire me. So think about different words or images you want to write. So after you have your goals as the very first step, the next thing that I would want you to do is so you write them out. You say, let's say you're also looking to buy another property. You would write lake house, let's say. And then later you would search for images that represent that lake house, right? So during the vision board party, this is something that you can do in January also with your friends. What I had done is asked everyone that was coming to bring 3 magazines. Now, these don't have to be specific to what they are looking to manifest. These are things that would be like communal. We're all sharing. So we all put up a ton of magazines in the middle of the table. And I also asked people to bring images if they are very specific, if they don't believe they're going to be able to find them in a magazine, then to actually print them. And I print images from Staples personally because I want them nice and I want them in color on great paper. And then we would all take time talking about them because what we talk about, what we put out in the universe becomes real, right? So I had a bunch of scissors, a bunch of magazines, and then we would be looking through them and seeing what inspired us and cutting things out. Now I've done this. I didn't do it last year. I've done it many, many years in a row. And I found I just couldn't find a place for my vision board in my home where I would look at it enough because I'm someone who I hate clutter. And I find a vision board is often very busy. And I didn't want to put it anywhere that would make me feel like frantic or like the house is in disarray. So I haven't found a way to do a vision board physically that I can have where I can look at it many times a day without it being a distraction. I have tried putting one in my office, but I do like that clean aesthetic. So I ended up removing it, putting it in my closet, and then I never really looked at it. So what I ended up doing last year, so this is another option for you, is I just went on Canva. If you haven't used that, look it up. And I found a vision board template really simply, and I created one for desktop. So I looked for a desktop version, and then I looked for a mobile version. And that mobile version, what I did was just import the photos that inspired me in there. And then I also created one for the computer. So I see, and there's many, many more images that are on the computer version, which is great. So anytime I close all my files, I could see what's there and it's continuing to inspire me. If you are letting go about when exactly, and these things are supposed to, manifest themselves into reality, then it is less scary to dream bigger, right? It is less scary. And if you let go of the control, you can also say, okay, if it's not in 2026, then it'll be mine in 2027, right? And having that longer term version is extremely, extremely powerful as well, right? So that is the vision board. I highly recommend it. If we look back at that Harvard study, once you have a clear goal in mind for what you want your life to look like, your brain is going to be trying to make that a reality on the back end, which is so, so powerful. So it's going to go into your subconscious mind. And as you're going through your day-to-day, you're going to make decisions that are aligned with that. So I am someone who loves shopping, right? And I spend a lot on clothing. It is something I really love. But now that I have this lake house in mind, I also know that I'm going to want furniture. And this is very expensive. I mean, it's multi-millions of dollars. And then on top of that, it's furnishing a home and all of that. And that to me is more exciting. So when I see the lake house, I'm like, okay, maybe I don't want to buy this blazer for $300. And instead, maybe I'm going to end up buying a coffee table or, a chair for the backyard or something like that where I can enjoy it more. So subconsciously, when I'm going to online shop and I have that bigger vision on my vision board, it'll stop me in my tracks. And it actually has many, many times because it's like, okay, I'm actually saving for something bigger. And it keeps things in the subconscious for you to bring them into reality a lot faster. I find when we don't know where we want our life to go in the next couple of years, we end up just kind of going with the flow and end up with other people making those decisions for us, right? So just to recap real quick, you're going to want to write out your goals for 1 year, 3 years, 5 years from now. I'm actually challenging myself this year, and I actually told my coach I want her to hold me accountable. I am trying to create a 20-year vision, which is very, very difficult because it seems like it's so far away and I won't possibly know. It's like I'm young. I possibly won't know what I'll want to be doing at that time, but I am pushing myself. And with my coach, I'm creating a 20-year vision to make sure that these small goals that I have year over year are aligned with the bigger goals that I have for my legacy. So I know 20 years might be too much for you right now. It's something that seems too much for me too, but throughout this year, I will be making sure that I am creating a business that is aligned with my 20-year vision. And it's a really good practice to even think about where you want your career in 20 years, what you want to be doing at that time, and taking on then roles that are aligned with where you want your career and life to be at that time. So this is my second practice that I walked through at my workshop with my friends at my house, which is the letter to your future self. Now, I only found out about this from my friend Paria that I told you about, that we both went to go see Gabby. I only found out about this about 4 years ago, and it's literally changed my life. And when we were at Gabby Bernstein's The Universe Has Your Back show, she had mentioned it in passing. And then we both look at each other and we're like, we got to throw this party. And that's kind of how it sparked it. But this is the most powerful practice. And you can do this anytime. So even if you're listening to this podcast episode in the summer, like it literally doesn't matter where, if you've never created a letter to your future self, we are going to want to create one. So my personal practice, I do this twice a year usually, and I always do it for my birthday, and I always do it on New Year's Eve or in December. So the last couple of years, the last 4 years or so, I've been creating one on New Year's Eve, and I'll take my journal, and what I will do is write myself a letter, and it would have described everything that has happened in the prior year. So for example, Irina, I am so proud of you for becoming a best-selling author in 2026. I am proud of the way you were vulnerable and shared, all of your stories and shared meaningful frameworks that would change people's lives. And then in great detail, describing exactly what happened, what the room was like, where you were in that moment. I'll give you another example from the past. So about 4 years ago, the first time I did this, we were about to start our project, or we had just started our project in the backyard, which we called like our backyard oasis project, right? So we were building a pool and gardens and different seating areas and a fireplace and like this outdoor kitchen with the table and like all of these things. It was a really big project for us. And actually that's part of the reason we haven't bought a lake house, is because of how much we invested in our backyard, and we felt like we should enjoy it as well. But during that time, even though there was literally a huge hole in my backyard where they were starting to dig the pool, what I had wrote was the vision of it being complete and celebrating my son's birthday there the following year and how amazing that was. And to have the family gathered and have all these spaces where they can sit and share and talk and celebrate, and all of his kids' friends coming over because we now have the cool house and they want to hang out. And the funny thing is, this year we have this little friend, Corey, who lives across the street, who always, like literally almost every day, he comes and rings the doorbell and he's like, is Mason home? It's really, really cute that they're at the age where they make their own plans. But Corey's parents had messaged us and they said, we're so sorry. Like, we know Corey's going over to your house all the time and unannounced. Like, please, if it's too much ever, just say stop. And they said, we also offered that the boys can hang out at our house, but Corey keeps saying you guys have the cool house, so he doesn't want to do that. And that kind of made my heart melt a little bit, because it made me realize that vision, the specific letter that I wrote to myself, that I want to have the cool house because it will attract, my son's friends, and I want them to be able to come over here so we can kind of know the friend circle and we can get to know them. We could be part of that as well as he's growing up. That's something that has now happened, which I find like the coolest thing ever, even 4 years later. So my letter is typically 2 to 3 pages, and it has a lot of detail about what I see happening. Last year, I had also really journaled about my husband's career, because it was in this point of there could have been the sale of his last company, and it was something that was in the realm of possibility. And I had journaled on it, and I had wrote like how amazing that would be if the company sold, and, what that meant for his career and all these amazing things that would unfold from that. And it did end up happening. Now, this was something we didn't know would happen in that year. And the fact that it did was, just an incredible kind of coincidence. And then I later showed my husband the letter. I'm like, look, and I wrote like, John, I'm so proud of you for doing X and Y, for getting your company to this point, and really putting that out in a lot of detail. And then when we read it, it's like, oh my goodness, this has actually happened. So think about the different areas of your life that you have goals for. Think about your family life. Maybe you want to be even closer to your partner. Maybe you want to find the love of your life. Maybe you want to have a child. Maybe you want to be promoted. Maybe you want to land that dream role that doesn't really make sense right now. You don't know how that will all happen, but write it down in a lot of detail, what the day-to-day looks like, how you feel, how happy you are in that moment. And I'll tell you, our brain does not know the difference between us feeling something that we're reading that didn't happen yet or reality. So what this means is your brain will actually be wired to think that these things that you're writing about have already happened, that they already are in the world, and that energy helps to bring them closer to you, right? So in my letter this year, what I'm going to be including is painstaking detail about having like a launch party for the book, for having my friends and family come to the signing, for celebrating. I could see like the balloons. I can see the black pen that I'm going to use in a lot of detail. I could see kind of the book being there and something that we're all celebrating. And this is going to help me stay motivated when things get challenging with publishing a book for the first time, which is a huge, huge goal of mine. So that will be detailed in so much freaking detail that it's going to be as if I had already lived it. Have you ever gone on a vacation and when you got there, you had researched it so much beforehand that you already like felt like it happened in the past? Has that ever happened to you? So I'll tell you this. In 2019, I had a dream. It was on my vision board, actually, to go to Greece. And I ended up talking about it so much. My husband knows I love traveling, and I really wanted to go away. Our son was a couple years old, and I wanted to take a trip with just my husband and I. And it was on my vision board. And I had a picture of like the Greek rooftops that are blue and the white buildings and like the water and just that picture in Oya. I don't know. You probably know that famous Greek postcard that's like so beautiful of that region. And my husband surprised me for Christmas with our dream trip. He had booked it all. And for Christmas, I ended up opening the card and I'm like bawling because this is like so exciting to me. And I knew that it was something that I really wanted that, you know, he didn't really specifically care to go there. He probably would have gone back to Italy again. And he booked the whole thing, including this beautiful suite in Oya with the exact view that I had been envisioning. And I was so freaking excited about this trip. We had then planned everything afterwards, like which other cities we're going to go to and all of the details around that. And I planned it so much. I feel like I didn't have a lot going on those days, but I planned it in so much detail. I never do that with vacation anymore. But it was like a trip of a lifetime, super excited about it. And we had so much fun doing it. And we even booked the other flights that go like to the different other regions. So we would see more of Greece. And what ended up happening was he actually booked the trip for June of 2020. Now, you probably know what happened. We ended up not going because of the pandemic. And even 2 weeks before the trip, we're like, maybe we'll go because, you know, it was all like touch and go at that time. And every 2 weeks, things were changing and we couldn't even keep up. But I remember thinking, okay, we canceled it. We didn't go. But to this day, I'll tell you, I feel like I have gone to Greece because I know so much from the restaurants, where to take the photos that are beautiful, where we would be staying. I looked at the suite we would be staying at with the hot tub overlooking that beautiful view like 1,000 different times. So I literally feel like I have been there and my brain doesn't know the difference. So if you've ever experienced anything like that, that is why. So when you write this letter to yourself, your brain is going to try to find ways to make it a reality because our brain does not like incongruency. It doesn't like not understanding why that's not a reality. So I would push yourself to really write things that are outside of your comfort zone and that allow you to really dream big. And when you read that letter on December 31st, 1 year later, so I want you to either put it away. I don't want you to look at it for another whole year. And then exactly 1 year from the date that you wrote it, maybe it's January 1, maybe it's June 11th, maybe it's 11/11, whatever it is. I want you to make a note in your calendar to go and find that letter and read it. And you will be very surprised about how much of that feeling has come true. It's an incredible experience. Now, some things I have written that didn't, and that's okay. And maybe they go on the future letter, and maybe something even better had happened where things change, and that's totally, totally okay. But do that. So write yourself a letter, put it away, make a reminder to read it the following year, know where it is. What I do is in my journal, I keep a little, like a gold little pin. So I know where to come back, where the important notes are, because every day I'm journaling. They're not all that important, but this is one that I love to come back to. So make sure you do that. So if we're recapping this episode, this is a very New Year's Eve type episode, but make your goals. Think about what you want to attract in the following year, 3 years and 5 years. And then from there, think about and brainstorm what kind of pictures would represent that for you. So when you see them on your daily vision board, they are meaningful to you. Then I want you to decide whether you're creating a digital vision board or a physical one. Either way works, whatever works. I've created both. This year I have both. Last year I had the digital, and years prior I only had the physical. So choose one. And then I want you to write a letter from your highest self, imagining that these things from your vision board have already come true. And I want you to write it as if they have, congratulating yourself. Like, Mary, congratulations on the promotion to director. You are feeling inspired. You have an incredible team. You're working on, I am working on projects that light me up. So all of the details. I remember when I was starting the business, one of the things that I remember telling my coach about this too, but one of the things I had in my letter was all of the incredible results that I would see my clients have, and creating an impact through other people landing their dream roles and celebrating that with them. And I remember I actually did an Instagram post on this where I'm like in front of the Christmas tree, like trying not to cry, and like all of these real messages coming up from people that had already landed their dream roles, and just thinking like, that is exactly what I had put in my letter. And it's actually come to life. And it's a beautiful, beautiful feeling. And this will have you going into the next year very, very intentionally. And if you like this type of content where we are dreaming bigger, we're creating a bigger vision for our lives, this is something that I will be talking about more and more and more in the new year, occasionally as things come up, because these are practices that I do in my daily life. These are things that I truly, truly believe in. These are things that I know will change your life if you apply them as well. And it is incredible to always, talk about our careers and the job search, but it's also amazing to make sure that that career is linking to the bigger vision we have for our lives, whether it's 1 year or 20 years from now. So you're going to see a lot more of this on the podcast in 2026. And I'd love to hear your feedback. Write me a note. Make your vision board real. Send me a picture of something you're adding on your vision board. Send me a part of your future self letter where you're describing all of the incredible things that you accomplish in the next year. I would love to see it. And I would always love to hear your feedback, either through the DM, but what really makes a big difference for me and for the podcast is you leaving a review. So if you could take a couple seconds to leave a review for the podcast, let me know what you're thinking. I take the time to read each and every one. Obviously, they mean everything to me. And I wish you a beautiful, beautiful end to the year. This has been an incredible year, and I hope it has been for you as well. And 2026 will be even better. All right. I will see you on the next episode in the new year. Hey, before you go, if you've enjoyed listening to today's show, I would love your support. Please take a moment to leave a review anywhere where you listen to podcasts. And here's the exciting part. I'm running a special contest and giving away a one-on-one session with yours truly. All you have to do is leave a review, take a screenshot, and send it to me in my DMs. All of my contact info is in the show notes. I appreciate you so much, and I cannot wait to build the career and life that you've been craving together. See you next week.